Hello guys, it's me Luigi Reviews, and I just watched my most anticipated movie of 2025 on August 2nd, The Bad Guys 2, and today I'm gonna review it. I was originally gonna review Smurfs 2025 before it, but because due to the mixed reviews I decided to review it sometime later. If I take a look back to the first movie, I will admit while the story was a bit predictable, but that doesn't always mean it's all that bad. Sure, the plot twist villain being Professor Marmalade was kinda predictable, but the story was still well executed because of its heart, humor, action and its likable characters. It quickly became one of my favorite DreamWorks movies and favorite movies in general. Sure, the story being a little bit predictable is kind of what slightly keeps it away from my top 5 favorite DreamWorks movies, but I'm sure that DreamWorks can improve with its sequels and maybe like Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, How to Train Your Dragon 2 and 3, Kung Fu Panda 2 and 3, Trolls 2 and 3, Shrek 2 and even Madagascar 2 and 3, The Bad Guys 2 could join them as one of the DreamWorks sequels better than the first movie. When the trailers came out, I was absolutely excited for this movie, and easily put it as my most anticipated movie of the year. And after actually watching it in theaters, what did I think of it? Well, it was actually awesome. Seriously, this movie was everything I wanted a sequel of The Bad Guys to be. I'm telling you, it should be a crime for a movie or sequel to be this good. But watch out, there will be spoilers, so I'm putting a spoiler warning in case you haven't seen the movie yet. So come back to this video once you have seen it. So the movie starts off with a flashback of the bad guys pulling up their heist, and this was Miss Tarantula's first time she did a heist with the bad guys. We don't really get to find out anything about it later, or why she's the only female member of the bad guys, but that doesn't really matter. Now right when the opening scene starts, I knew I was into something special. It begins with the chase scene of the police going after the bad guys who stole a car in Cairo, Egypt. It immediately starts an original song playing called Taking Everything, and it's such a great and catchy song. This is exactly how you start a sequel. And don't worry, even if you haven't seen at least the first movie, it still introduces the characters like Mr. Wolf, Mr. Snake, Mr. Piranha and Mr. Shark. It cuts to 5 years later with the bad guys now turned good, still trying to fit in after redeeming themselves. But it's not that easy for them to fit into society. Luckily, Chief Misty Luggins now wants to help the bad guys out. Coming into this movie, unlike the first movie, the story also kind of got an improvement, as I don't know what to expect or where the story would go next. The story of this was just unpredictable from beginning to end. Sure, we saw a lot of the scenes in the trailers and TV spots, but we didn't really get to figure out when these scenes would take place at. The bad guys go to a wrestling tournament to expose to the Phantom Bandit, but end up getting framed for it. The bad guys ultimately get blackmailed by the bad girls into helping them for one last job, or else they will expose Diane Foxington as the Crimson Pool. There are a lot of twists and turns that I didn't see coming in this movie, unlike the first movie, where some of them did sound very obvious. But I liked how they didn't hide that the bad girls are actually the villains of the movies. I am glad that they didn't really sideline Diane Foxington all that much in this movie, as it would make you think because she was barely in the trailers. The movie was also a lot funnier than the first movie, as it focuses mostly on cartoony gags and slapstick humor, which I really like in these kind of movies. I also like the return of Professor Marmalade in this movie, even though he's mostly just a cameo, as he doesn't have a huge role in this movie, but he's still as funny as he was before. I really like Mr. Wolf's character's arc of proving that they are still good. And I'm glad the other bad guys actually did more in this sequel than the first movie. I also thought the animation was significantly even better than the first movie. There are even some shots that took 2D animation, like the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movies and Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. This movie also uses the CalArts style. Yes, that's right, just like Luca, Elio, turning written win or lose. And apparently people like to criticize that bean mouth art style. But I think it works the best in movies like The Bad Guys. I think even The Mitchells vs. the Machines also kinda use that style. But apparently people only hate on the bean mouth style when Disney and Pixar does it, but when DreamWorks does it they get that pass? That makes no sense. But anyway, I really like the background character designs, and how they use the bean mouth style to make the characters come to life. Really going out with the cartoony style that DreamWorks uses in their movies, making the characters look expressive and lively. I also like how this sequel is even crazier than the first movie. While other DreamWorks sequels like Kung Fu Panda, Shrek and How to Train Your Dragon are more down to earth, this movie is more silly and goofier, and I honestly really like it. This movie doesn't always have to take itself seriously, but at times it does, which is great, as it has some time to calm down and breath. The part of when the bad girls were about to upload Diane's video of her being the Crimson Paw to expose her was pretty intense, and you really hope that they don't find out about her, but then they do, and it really got a big impact on the story as it made people hate on Diane Foxington and not trust her anymore. The climax of this movie is easily the highlight, but that's like what happens in most DreamWorks movies, if not all their movies. So Mr. Wolf and the gang have to get into the rocket before it launched in space to stop the bad girls. The climax was literally out of this world. It left me speechless. And Diane Foxington and Mr. Wolf even kissed when they were in space. I wish I was with a more crowded audience, because this screening deserved a bigger applause than Chicken Jockey from the Minecraft movie. It even has a scene similar to Chicken Jockey when Mr. Shark and Mr. Piranha fight the Phantom Bandit, and I thought that was better than the actual Chicken Jockey from the Minecraft movie, and the scene when they try to fight her got me locked in my seat. When I thought the bad guys died, I almost cried. This really felt like another Toy Story 3 moment for me. Do I have some flaws with this movie? No. Well, actually maybe a few flaws, like how the bad girls don't really appear much in the movie until about 40 minutes in. And we don't really know a lot about them, like their backstory, but they were still a great addition to the movie, and I even thought Kitty was an interesting character, and I liked her talk with Mr. Wolf about how society may never accept them. But later on he says that you need to deserve respect in order to get accepted. Which is a great life lesson, as it's true not everyone is capable to change, and this sequel shows it. This movie doesn't shy away at trying to be more deeper and mature than the first movie. I don't think the bad girls are as good at baddies as the Huntrix though, but you know that doesn't matter. I also wish they played that epic version of Bad Guy by Billie Eilish and released a full version of it, but unfortunately it was only in the first trailer. But maybe it will be in the third movie. Besides, the ending did kinda set up a third movie with the bad guys becoming secret agents. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is easily gonna become my new favorite DreamWorks trilogy since How to Train Your Dragon. Yes, I would even go that far. Also, speaking of the song choices, I thought there were more pop songs than the first movie. Not that it's anything bad, but it's just something I noticed, and I really like that. But aside from a few setbacks, this movie can be considered a near-perfect sequel from DreamWorks, and yes, I would even consider it around the same quality as movies like Puss in Boots, The Last Wish and Kung Fu Panda 2, but not quite as good as Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, of course. As the time I review this movie, I would consider this the third best DreamWorks movie after Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, and The Wild Robot. Yes, it really is that good. This movie is another piece of peak fiction and cinema from DreamWorks Animation. It's another masterpiece, and while some people debate if it's as good as the first movie, I actually think it is somehow even better. Kitty Cat was a better villain than Marmalade. And she kinda reminded me of Superfly from Mutant Mayhem because of how she acts. Mr. Wolf is still my favorite character, and he's still so cool. Mr. Shark and Mr. Piranha are still the funniest characters of the movie, and I really like their interactions. Mr. Snake is less grumpy than he was in the first movie, maybe it's because of his new girlfriend. And Misty Logan surprisingly had a great redemption arc as well, where she helps Mr. Wolf and his friends. The story was more mature and better than the first movie. The jokes were even funnier and the characters were also better than they were in the first movie. And Diane Foxington might as well make me a furry. But let's just change subject. I liked this movie so much that I want to see it again. If I haven't already by the time this review is uploaded. I can't really decide whether I like this better than K-pop Demon Hunters or not. As of now, I would consider this my favorite movie of 2025. I don't even think Zootopia 2 will top this masterpiece, but it can try. Maybe it will be another Wreck-It Ralph 2, where it's surprisingly even better than the first movie. But I think this is yet another DreamWorks is better than Disney situation, because DreamWorks sequels are usually better than Disney. But honestly, the movie I look forward to the most now is Search for SquarePants. The Bad Guys 2 is absolute peak cinema. If you like movies like The Mitchells vs. the Machines, Spider-Verse, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, Madagascar, Kung Fu Panda, Despicable Me and Sing, you will absolutely love this movie. And if you also like the first Bad Guys movie, of course. The need of watching the first movie is kind of optional, since it doesn't depend all that much from context of what happened before. I know that there will be some haters out there that will bash this movie, these mostly being those Disney is better than DreamWorks people. I also watched this movie in 3D unlike the first movie. And the said 3D effects, the shots were absolutely beautiful. I know I may be overpraising this movie, but I can't help it, I just love this movie so much. As for my rating, I give both my personal and critical rating for The Bad Guys 2 a 10 out of 10. With the "That is cinema" quote.
That is cinema.
Hopefully you enjoyed my review for The Bad Guys 2, and don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video.